So we're back. Another episode. This is episode 41 of Post-Fades Cheesesteaks. This was supposed to be our, 1/3 of the way through the NBA season episode, and talking MVPs, rising teams, disappointing teams, which we will. But today's Thursday, so the breaking news just a couple of minutes ago was Mr. Carson Wentz has finally been traded to the Indianapolis Colts for a 2021 third-round pick and a 2022 conditional second that will be a first if he plays 75% of the offensive snaps or 70%, and then the Colts make the playoffs in 2020.
Oh, yeah. That'll be the Colts in the AFC Championship game and us getting a 30th pick overall back.
Yeah.
That'll be a win. Yeah, that's a win for us.
Yeah, this was just such a weird, we went from, they're firing Doug to keep Carson and bringing in a Colts guy to help fix Wentz to Eagles are going to get 2 first-round picks to, you know what, let's just trade him for a bag of chips.
It's pathetic. It's really exactly what you want to do if you want to ruin a quarterback. My first thought was obviously that, you all heard so many rumors coming out because anonymous sources and the Eagles go together like, peanut butter and jelly. They just love to talk themselves into tough situations.
Yeah.
After all this talking and everything, you knew he was getting traded. All their whispers and their moans, if we don't get our deal, we'll just bring him right back. No, you're not. You haven't talked to this guy in over a month. He does not want to be here. What do you really want to do that to your locker room and your team? And then, we were going to get a Matthew Stafford type return. Yeah. That's what we saw that one coming, right? And then he kept on saying that, and then the deal was supposed to come in a couple of days. Obviously, when that didn't happen, you just assumed that they weren't getting what they want, but no one thought they were going to get what they wanted anyway. And now you shipped off your franchise quarterback. You finally did it. You ruined everything. You drafted a guy when you should have helped him. You let him play with backup linemen, backup receivers, and you did absolutely nothing to help him.
Yeah.
And now you're in this situation. You fired Doug, brought in a clone of Frank Reich, who you think was meant to keep Carson Wentz here, but now instead you ended up trading him to the original guy who's going to flip him around. He'll be a Pro Bowler in 1 year. I don't think the Colts will miss the playoffs. They'll go deep this year with Wentz. And, your guy, you developed your franchise quarterback, the contract you signed him to, who's going to be he's top 5 next year. And then after that, the contract gets pretty nice.
Yeah.
And now you have nothing. You have no franchise quarterback, nothing to show from it. You fired your head coach, you got rid of your quarterback, and you kept the one guy who's making this team a laughing stock. So that's your outlook. I guarantee he fucks up this third-round pick, and I guarantee that first-round pick will be a disaster too. They're going to be 2 busts.
Probably. And apologies, I forgot to introduce our lovely guest, James, who he and I used to wreck it together on the rec league courts at Kutztown.
Wow.
But
wreck it.
James,
What a
thanks
term.
for you had a lovely snow day, it appears. So you had some time between teaching. But thanks for joining us, our resident Miami Heat Dwayne Wade fan. What are your thoughts on the Wentz trade?
Oh my gosh. Well, Tim said it best. I mean, you can't find a better prototype quarterback than Carson Wentz. I'm talking body build, legs, mobility, arm, everything. And he was surrounded by nothing. I compared it to, you ever play a pickup game and there's one good player and everyone else is terrible, and that one good player feels like he has to do everything, and because he has to do everything, he messes up a lot?
Mm-hmm.
That's what Carson Wentz was. He had to do everything, and consequently, he messed up a lot. They gave up on him way too early, and they invested in Jalen Hurts way too early. I mean, he had one decent game against the Saints, and then he doesn't do enough to go far in the playoffs, whereas Carson Wentz can, and he's shown that until he got hurt.
Right.
He's going to be all pro, like Tim said, in Indianapolis. Enjoy him.
They're immediate success. They have an offensive line that could, block for him. They have weapons there. They have a coach that's competent and knows how to make the best out of them. And it's a shame. It's such a shame. Look, how quickly we fell apart. Just 2 years ago, this guy, not even 2 years ago, he brought you to the playoffs by himself with backups. And now you immediately drafted another quarterback for him for some reason. Thanks for bringing us to the playoffs there, Carson. Here's your competition. And you know what? Once Wentz got benched, you kind of thought they're just going to hand it over to Hurts. They didn't really think he deserved it. You said he had one good game, but then everyone started figuring out how to stop him. It wasn't that hard. I'm baffled. And the other thing is, like, you brought this guy in, Sirianni, who comes from a similar system with Rice, so you think he would match up with Wentz well.
Yeah.
But now you tied his hands. You traded away Wentz. He's stuck with Hurts. You can't. If they hate us, maybe they'll do it. Maybe they draft a quarterback in the first round, but you can't bring in a different quarterback that isn't Hurts. And this guy's stuck with Hurts. Did he want Hurts? Who knows? He probably wanted Wentz, and now he got Hurts. So it's just baffling.
I know somewhere, like, I have a feeling in my gut that we're going to see Justin Fields, Philadelphia Eagle, and I'm going to be so livid.
Yeah, this quarterback factory is just going to turn and burn.
I think the only good thing about this is that it's essentially this whole team is getting like a blank slate, because you basically have cleansed the entire Super Bowl team. Like, I don't even know if anyone's left at this point. Besides, like, Brandon Graham and Jason Kelce.
What do you mean? There's Lane Johnson's still there. Brandon Graham's still there. Kelce's there.
But I mean, like, some of the
Ertz is still here until he leaves.
Staff's gone. Your both quarterbacks are gone. It's starting to develop into a different team. And look, I like Jalen as like a leader. I think he definitely has potential. I mean, he was, a Heisman runner-up in college. So I'm not writing him off yet. I think with a full offseason, anything's possible. But it's just like I feel like they don't know what they want to do, or they
have no idea,
or that the goal was to get rid of Wentz in the first place. So.
Well, the goal trying to get rid of Wentz because you tied your hands. You just embarrassed yourself and put all these rumors out. You had to do it. What were we going to do? Bring him back after everyone knew what he was being offered for and all this stuff?
No,
The one good thing about Hurts is he's very young, obviously, and he does seem like an awesome dude to be around, like a good leader. Like, how he handled the Alabama and Oklahoma situation with Tua was, I thought, very mature of him. So that's something good going for him. His arm strength isn't good. He moves well, but I don't know.
Yeah, I just never saw the franchise quarterback. My nightmare, since they made the switch, was Wentz going on to success with a new team and Hurts not being your guy, because that'll set you back a long time. Yep. And my biggest issue with this is, and you mentioned we probably are going to move on from more Super Bowl guys. We're probably going to be doing a rebuild now that you traded Wentz. You could have convinced me that it would be more of a retool and we could actually make a playoff push if Wentz comes back and figures it out. Mm-hmm. Now we're going to go into a full-scale rebuild, and you're going to do it with the same guy that just destroyed what you had beforehand. I just saw how he destroyed in 2 years what we won a Super Bowl with, and now this is the guy that's going to build it all up again. I don't know. I'm hesitant. He hasn't hit on a draft pick, I think, since who the hell knows. Wentz, maybe, who we just traded away.
Yeah.
It's just baffling.
Actually, Colin Cowherd said that yesterday. He said Howie hasn't drafted a Pro Bowler in the past 7 years. The only one was Wentz.
Yeah. That's crazy. That blows my mind.
What made you think? I mean, I know Lori's boys with him, and maybe him and Howie are just, playing fantasy GM all over again and think, it'll be easy. We just won a Super Bowl last time. It was really easy. We'll just do it again. We'll just figure out the magic we did last time. You need building blocks. There's not a single building block on this team. No one. You have more picks, but we're just going to miss on them. More J.J. Ortega-Whitesides, like more Jalen Ragers. It's baffling to me. I don't know. If you didn't get 2 first-round picks, I didn't see the need to move them. Obviously, you fucked the whole thing up, the Eagles being, but where are we now?
Yeah, I mean, for sure that the compensation tells me that they weren't going to try and make it work. So, because like we said, like it was last month, it seemed like he was going to get traded at any moment, and then it just kept getting pushed back and back and back. So there was definitely people thinking that maybe he's going to stay after all, and I don't know. It's I'm just glad the drama's over. We can move on, wait till April, see if there's any more QB drama. But I'm not super opposed to letting Hurts, run.
Well, you have to.
Yeah, you got to.
Yeah, but I mean, like I'm if they're rebuilding, at least let's see what he's got. The year after, the QB class is not as good as this coming up class, but again, I don't think you essentially drafted a QB in the second round and aided in the destruction of your team by doing so, and now you're going to draft another QB. Like, I don't know. We'll see what happens, but
the timeline from when the Eagles won the Super Bowl until now has just been an absolute
chaos,
spiral downwards.
This past before the season started, the Eagles were they had pretty decent Super Bowl odds. Some analysts picked them to win, you know, but we went from
Got
all
really ugly.
to losing
Yeah.
our coach and losing our quarterback. So I mean, we'll see. I mean,
It's just
fun in the off season. It's not fun to watch when your team loses every Sunday, but it's kind of like how we were talking about with the Brady MJ thing. It's like you can flip a basketball team around, you know, relative in like a year or so, but you can't really just flip a whole team, change quarterback and all this, and expect to make playoffs and push. So
you know what flips you real quick is, you know, getting a franchise quarterback, a veteran franchise quarterback. Rookie quarterbacks take longer to come along, but if you want an instant, quick fix solution, you do what the Rams and the Colts just did. You got a veteran franchise quarterback. You know, I know Wentz has some, you know, worries because he looked terrible this whole year, but you know, things were looking bad since Hurts was drafted. This roster didn't look good. There was no depth. You had some key injuries. Doug forgot how to play call, and
yeah,
it's just it baffles me how much was invested in Wentz. How like the contract's going to look really good after this year, and you signed them to that. Like you made the deal. Remember when we were killing the Cowboys because they went signed Dak, and the Eagles went and locked up Wentz at a reasonable price, and we're like, oh, we're geniuses. The Cowboys are idiots. They're going to be paying the most expensive quarterback in a year, and they're going to have to do it. Well, now we just did the work, and we just got rid of them. We just got rid of this valuable contract because we just gave them all the money. Most of the money was top-loaded or front-loaded, and we were taking a $33 million dead cap for it, and it just baffles me. You know, you were about to reap the benefits. You were about to get some salary cap relief with Wentz contracts, and now the Colts get to enjoy it.
Yep.
Yeah, it's
we're all wrong.
It's something, but I think that, you know, on the flip side, this is great for the Colts. I mean, they've been, you know, pushing for the playoffs with Band-Aid quarterbacks, and now they have a guy, hopefully, for them. So.
Yeah, I mean, they got to the playoffs with Philip Rivers, who obviously I was very down on, but, you know, he did enough to get him in the playoffs on his last year. So
yeah, good line, good playmakers, very good
defense.
They'll be good.
Yeah,
they'll compete with the Chiefs.
We will see. That's my Wentz Eagles tee. I'm ready to move on to the NBA talk.
It still stinks. This whole thing is just, I feel like I was watching like a drama or a soap opera show or something and just waiting for the climax, like all this drama, all this build up, all these rumors, all this talking. And then we just get to the end and I'm so disappointed. You know, it just feels like this was a loss. It's really hard to spin it as a win. It really is.
Oh, no, it wasn't.
Over time, we'll get over it. But yeah, my friend texted me like, I guess a couple minutes after it happened, and I, you know, ran to Twitter, and I was like, is this right? A third round pick? But
yeah.
It is what it is.
You know, hopefully we're all wrong. Hopefully we eat our words, and Jalen Hurts is a stud. And
yeah, I mean, wouldn't be totally surprised.
Hopefully we're all wrong. I'd love to say we're wrong in this situation.
I would too, but you know, it reminds me of all those draft picks that I thought were bad at the time when Howie makes them, and I'm like, nah, you know what? I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. He'll prove me wrong. And now we just got some more draft picks for him to go prove me wrong on.
Yeah, but one bright spot, at least in Philadelphia, we got the Sixers playing really well. I know James hates to hear that.
Not the Sixers I hate. It's the Sixers fans I hate.
Yeah. I think we have the NBA All-Star results tonight. So I was curious what you guys think. You know, so far we're about, I think, a little over 1/3 of the way through the season. Who do you think is really the favorite for, you know, MVP? Me personally, a little biased, but I'm, you know, blown away by Embiid's change over this year compared to the last year. You know, he's fourth in points per game. He's shooting 54% from the field, 40 from three. However, I am a little worried now that I think LeBron is going to enter the fray now that AD's out for about a month or so. But I'll let you guys have it. Who you guys kind of are leaning towards as some top MVP candidates?
Let the guys go first.
Thanks. No, I hate to say it because I do not like Joel Embiid, but he can't deny his success right now. He is killing it. And on both ends. And he's not taking those typical back-to-back nights off. He's not missing every game here and there. He's playing almost every game. Like, he looks good. He looks dialed in. He looks like, all right, I'm over this. I'm ready to dominate. And Doc Rivers there helps. They finally got shooters around him. I thought the
Thankfully.
Seth Curry trade was the best trade in the offseason because, man,
Oh yeah,
that was a steal. It was a steal. I think Jokic is up there in terms of MVP frontrunners. I mean, the dude's a guy walking triple-double. And it's funny because he's so unathletic. He's just one of the people that knows the game and excels at the skills of the game. Those two, I would say, are the top two. LeBron always has his chance because all the people that love him. And they're really good. He's playing pretty well. Statistically, I think I saw he's not having as good of a year as he usually does, but you can't deny their success. Mm-hmm. But Embiid or Jokic, as of now, they look phenomenal.
Yeah, Jokic reminds me of like that kid in like high school who like is super good at everything, but never really like looks like he doesn't try or looks like he doesn't study and stuff. Like that's who like Jokic he just doesn't look like he would be one of the best players in the league, but he is.
No, he makes everyone around him better. And he's slimmed down. He's more athletic, so he's a little better on the defensive end too, which is good.
Yeah, a lot better shape. I would echo the same stuff you were saying about Embiid and Jokic. Embiid, he's looked incredible this year. When I like talk about the most dominant player, I think I'm going with Embiid. He's just looked great. The Sixers, and off that look terrible when he's not out there. That's my biggest worry with them going forward. It's so clear that this offense runs through Embiid, and then when he's not there, it looks like it's missing something. The depth on the bench is really bad. So I think that also helps that it's showing Embiid's value. But what's really going to get him, and you kind of mentioned this already, this Anthony Davis being out is really going to put the spotlight on LeBron, and I think LeBron's going to flourish. I think LeBron really took it personal that he didn't get the MVP last year. I think he should have got it. Like the Lakers were by far, I think, the best team all year, and he was bringing his game to another level. Looks like a top 5 point guard in a 6'8" body. So then, he did it again. He changed his game, added this 3-point shot, and he looks dominant. He's just unstoppable. What's going to kill them? Those two are my favorite, but what's going to kill Embiid and what shouldn't kill Embiid, because we're talking about a 36-year-old that he's competing against. LeBron's going to have so many more minutes and games played than Embiid, and he's just going to he just doesn't miss time. He plays more than Embiid. He's younger, and even though Embiid is younger and fresher, and I think that's going to help him. Obviously, Davis out will give him more of an opportunity, and I think tonight's a big showing. LeBron against the Nets, even though KD's not playing, he's missing Anthony Davis. I think this is going to be a big game where LeBron goes off, beats his boy, his former teammate, who I think he secretly hates, Kyrie. National TV. This is one of the bigger games of the whole NBA season, and I think this is his beginning of his MVP stamp on the season. Is I'm going to start dominating, taking over now that AD's gone. So I see LeBron taking this year as one of those kind of like, you give Aaron Rodgers the MVP most of the years, and he got his this year. I think this is LeBron's. He gets this year after missing out the last 2 years to Giannis.
Yep, you earned it.
I really think he should have won last year, but I think this year with him bringing himself to another level, I think this is where he solidifies. They don't, he let everyone know that they forgot about him in MVP running last year.
Yeah, and I don't like a lot of voters favor stats over like actual basketball. Like LeBron does everything. Like
he's so good. He's amazing, and to that point too, that's what Embiid's impressed me. Like his mid-range game has just come unstoppable. He's so quick. Footwork looks amazing. The skills have gotten he's got the skills down. He's got a 3-point shot going. He's a force. Very impressed with him. One name I wanted to ask, because I actually was watching him last night against your Miami Heat there.
Yes, I'm glad you're bringing this guy up.
I put some money on against the Heat, and then I took the Heat last night. So I know the Heat don't look good, man. I've watched the last couple of games.
Don't take the Heat in any game.
Yeah, I took the Clippers not knowing that. I knew Paul George was playing, didn't know the other 3 starters weren't playing, and still won. So it was all good. Steph Curry, top 3 MVP candidate. Is that legit or full of shit for you guys?
No,
I think the year he's having, man, it's his vintage Steph.
That is legit because that team is terrible.
Yeah. He's averaging 30 points a game.
They have Kent Bazemore playing solid minutes for them, and Kent Bazemore. They have that Juan Toronto, whatever. He's a G League guy that they called up. Like the thing Steph Curry does, and as a point guard, like usually your forwards, your two-way guys can do a little bit of everything, like LeBron and Kawhi and Giannis. But like Steph's a point guard. He's a liability on the defensive end, but he just makes everyone so much better on the offensive end and is such an attraction to other defenses. He makes everyone better. I agree with you. He's top 3 in the MVP voting for me.
Yeah.
Dakota, what about you? Legit or full of shit on Steph Curry in top 3?
Oh, no, legit. I mean, only Bradley Beal is averaging more points per game than him. And I just he'll miss his threes, but the thing about Steph is like he's not gonna like get in his own head. He's not gonna get down on it. He's like, all right, I just missed 5 in a row, but I'm still gonna put this 6 shot up and hopefully it goes in. So I mean
most of the time it does.
Exactly.
He went like 2 for 10 last night in the first half threes, and then hit the 3 to send it into overtime, hit a bunch of threes to get the lead, dwindled down like
he's still making those big shots. Back to I'd say legit as well. I've been very impressed with Steph. It's just, even with Draymond Green not out there yesterday, I don't know how Miami lost that game. I don't think they had a center or a power forward out there. And it's just, man, like you said, he was so cold for so long. Like he was really having a bad game. He was getting double teamed all game, and then comes to the end and he just makes the big shots. And then you forget that he struggled. And then you see them win in overtime against the defending Eastern Conference champions. And then you're like, oh, he started out bad. Didn't even know. He drained the last 4 threes to end the game, bringing it overtime and steal it. But yeah, he's been incredible. That team does stink. And I think that's really what's opening the eyes. He just still makes plays. You triple team, it doesn't matter. You still can't stop him. Another one, since we got your boy on here, is a Miami Heat guy, and we were always referencing them. Legit or full of shit, because now that I've seen these last 2 losses, man, to the Clippers they're missing 4 starters, and then you lose to the Warriors, who I don't think they had a center, power forward, anyone even rebound besides Kent Bazemore, who had like a dominant game. Are they a playoff like team? I don't know. They're the same roster from last year, but man, they look bad.
They'll make the playoffs. They'll crawl in because of how bad they've been playing. They look. A lot of people said the bubble was like a fluke thing, and I'll tell you what. I defend them. It's getting harder to defend them. Tyler Hero is a shell of himself. He was incredible in the bubble, making plays, hitting all his shots. He's terrible now. He's not shooting well, it's so easy to defend him, and he's not shooting well right now. Teams have started to prioritize Duncan Robinson on defense, so he's getting factored out of games. And those were the 2 that really opened up the floor for Jimmy and Bam. And because teams now figured out, oh, this is how we can stop them. I don't know if you noticed. Did you guys watch the game last night by any chance?
Yeah, I did.
I didn't get a chance.
It was towards the end of the game. It was just one-on-one. Jimmy go, Bam go.
Yeah.
Jimmy go, Bam go. And that's not how they made it far in the bubble last year.
No, you are right though. That's one of the biggest takeaways I had from last game was Hero looked terrible. He had the shots. He was open, those big shots that he made last year, and he missed them this year. He had a couple bad turnovers. His defense wasn't that great. I'm going the other way with you. I think it's full of shit. They look bad. There is nothing really different from the last year's team. And I know Jimmy had COVID and they had some other issues, but the team looks off. And I think that they're going to fall too far behind for them to make it up. The swagger's gone. And, it makes you think maybe going far. It was a short off season this year. Going far like that, they were playing when a lot of teams were at home chilling. I know the Lakers haven't skipped a beat, but this is LeBron. He's not human. Yes. Where I think your young guys like Duncan, like Tyler Hero he was a second-year guy now or a third-year guy?
Yeah.
He was just in college. This is a quick turnaround for him to bang his body through the bubble and then come right back and do it again when everyone knows now that you're the stuff. So I don't know. They look bad. I think they lost a little bit of their swagger. I think teams are starting to figure them out anymore, but we'll see. I'm going to say full of it right now. Because what do we think?
Go ahead.
I think I am with James. I think they still have time. We're not even at halfway through all the games yet. I think they'll keep in mind, Tim, they play in the East. Like that 8th, 7th seed is probably going to be, borderline 500 record. They're only 2 games behind Charlotte right now for the 8th spot. So, and the Knicks are in 6th. So, yep. I mean, it's still early.
I hear it. No, I hear you. But you know what? We're getting close to our All-Star deadline, and they are not looking good.
A few reasons why I think they'll be fine is, like Dakota just said, the Hornets and Knicks are in front of them. They're going to fold.
Yeah.
They will trade. I don't know for who. I've been saying they need a 4-man. They can't start Kelly Olynyk. I like Kelly Olynyk. He's a backup. He is a backup. Cannot start. I look at LaMarcus Aldridge, Blake Griffin, Kevin Love. I heard rumors about Drummond, but he can't really shoot. They need a guy that can shoot at the 4 spot. That's what Jay Crowder did last year.
Yeah.
I like that Bella Licha guy, or however you say his name, in Sacramento. I would trade for him. So there's another reason. And they're missing Dragic, who really makes them go. He's like their backup.
You are right. I forgot about Dragic. I didn't even realize he was out when I was watching the game. How long is he out for?
He's out for a while. I think it's his foot. But I think they'll be fine. Yeah, no. There's also a play-in game now this year where it's 7 plays 10. Or no, 7 plays 8 and 9 plays 10. And then the winner of 7-8 will play the 2 seed. Winner of 9-10 plays the 8 seed, I think. Or the 1 seed. So
fair enough.
If they make it to that, they'll be fine.
I think Kevin Love would be a nice addition to the Heat.
He'd be perfect.
Yeah, I think that would be good for him too. Like, get out of Cleveland. I wouldn't be surprised if he got a little heat, not to be a play on words there, but kind of help propel them into the playoffs. But they definitely will make a move, I think. Same with the Celtics. Celtics need to make a move too.
I had one more middling team that I was also watching a little bit this weekend. They're like the opposite of the Heat. I think they're overshooting their expectations. They're in the playoff race right now, but they're also pretty hot. They've won a couple games. They just beat the Sixers. Legit or full of shit on the Suns finally putting it together and getting to the playoffs. Is Chris Paul going to do the same exact thing he just did with the Thunder? Take a young team, teach them how to be serious, and get them in the playoffs?
Go ahead, Dakota.
Go ahead.
No, okay. They're legit. Devin Booker is up there in terms of best scorers in the NBA. I mean, he can pull up from deep. He has a mid-range game. He can blow right by you. He's got a post-up game. Like, he's tremendous. And now that he has a good point guard to give them the ball, like Rubio was okay last year. Now he's got Chris Paul. And they just have another year of maturity with their young guys like Ayton, like whatever bridges they have. There's like 19 bridges in the NBA. Who else do they? I don't even know who else they have, but they signed Jay Crowder, another veteran leader who can shoot. I mean, he had success in Miami last year.
Playing pretty well.
I think they're legit. I like them. I think they can knock off some good teams too. I wouldn't be surprised if they can knock off not the Lakers, but if they ever ran into the Clippers, I think they could knock off the Clippers.
Yeah, I would agree with you. I say they're legit as well. I mean, before they lost to the Nets, which was a bad loss, being up by like 24, and Kyrie and KD not playing, they won 6 in a row, and that included wins with the Sixers, the Bucks, the Celtics. So they're hot. You know what? This team, the Suns, they're younger. Like, they don't have the established veterans like Danilo Gallinari or Schroeder, like Chris Paul did when he made the run with Oklahoma. But they're better. Like Ayton and Booker, I think, have higher ceilings than Gallinari and Schroeder, even though Schroeder looks great this year. But, they're maturing. I mean, Ayton looks a hell of a lot better than he ever did all the other years. The Suns look like they're finally putting it together. It looks like Chris Paul came in and just kind of became the co-head coach, and it's a good role for him. So I do think they sneak in this year. I think this is the year they get a little more respectable.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, we had our because it was you, me, and Nick when we did our NBA preview. We had the Suns at a collective 8th spot in the West, so I think they'll go through a little bit of a slump here and there, but they'll definitely finish I think between 7 and 5 seeding. But I think this is finally time for Booker to really, prove he's one of the better players in the league. So, like you guys were saying, I think Chris Paul does wonders for him. So,
and back to Devin Booker is he had to do a lot for them last year, especially on the offensive end. Now with Chris Paul there, he doesn't have to do as much. I mean, his numbers are down, but that's because he is Chris Paul, so he doesn't have to do as much, which is good. So when they need that extra little bit of juice and energy at the end of close games, he'll have that.
Yeah. No, I do love the pairing there.
I could see them as a candidate to bring in a big name in a trade too, kind of solidify that team to make a push towards the playoffs. So we'll see. One more team I'd like to question you, Tim. So the the New York Knicks and Julius Randle, are you buying, you selling? What's going on with them?
I mean, I don't know what I'm buying and selling. I still don't think they're a very good team. I think they're playing well now.
Yeah.
You mentioned how the East isn't really that strong. Like you're looking at that, this is where I think Miami's really in trouble. Is they're falling behind teams like Atlanta, Chicago, New York, Charlotte, teams that were drafting in like the early lottery last year.
Yeah.
But they're hot. They're young teams playing well. Goes back to the other thing. They were all sitting home. They never went to the bubble. They had a long off season. They had plenty of time to get ready. I don't think it's a coincidence that all the teams that didn't go to the bubble, for the most part, they're doing better than we can expect. Like then, all these Eastern Conference teams that are garbage feeders are doing better. They're more rested. I think their time off helped. The Knicks are still the Knicks. There is no talent on that team. Julius Randle was he was exciting name when his rookie year, and then we kind of figured out what Julius Randle was. I think he's padding his stats pretty nicely, but I can't see this team continuing. You're just lacking talent. I like that they got a coach that knows what he's doing. They're no longer an embarrassment like they've been the last 20 years. You can actually say they look like they're going in the right direction, but they're missing talent. I don't see them actually making legit. Maybe they sneak in an 8. I wouldn't be surprised if they don't make the playoffs, but they'll do better than they did last year in the last 10 years. They look like they're going the right way. We'll put it that way.
Yep, I agree with you 100%. They're not going to stay where they are. They're going to dwindle out. They're the Knicks, but like you said, having Thibodeau there is an attraction.
Yeah, and
they have some pieces ready for a superstar or something to come in, and there's nothing I'd want more than the Knicks to be good. If I was an NBA superstar, I would say I'm going to New York. I want to play in the Garden, Times Square, Manhattan. Like, I just wish the Knicks were good.
Yeah.
They, like Tim said, they don't have enough firepower. Like Austin Rivers can't be your primary scorer on the outside, unless they make a trade, which I heard they're in the trade rumors with many people. I can't see them lasting.
Now that would be a Knicks move. There's no one on this trade market I think the Knicks should even be looking at. Don't be sniffing around Blake Griffin, Andre Drummond, or Kevin Love. Those are bad free agents you bring in thinking you're ready to contend and then get stuck with a contract. And that's something the Knicks love to do. They'll become the bad team that those players are already on. The only difference will be the Knicks are now hooked on the contract. I look at the Knicks because you are right. They're a destination regardless how good they are. They've just been so embarrassing for so long. They need to get some positive energy. Mm-hmm. They remind me almost to a point of what the Nets were before KD and Kyrie got there. The Brooklyn was an embarrassment. Remember, they didn't have a single first-round pick. The Celtics had every first-round pick they ever could think of. They got Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum out of it. And the Nets were over here were the worst team in the NBA pretty much consistently every year, but had no draft picks. But then, Kenny Atkinson came in. What's the GM? Sean Marks came in. They got some young players, and they built a team that was respectable, an organization that was pretty good. You make it attractive for those free agents, and then the free agents come in, tell them to fire the coach and get rid of half the team. But, you got to get respectable. So the Nets just have to look like they're respectable and they know what they're doing. Mm. And then, maybe they blow it all up when they bring in these superstars. But this is good for the Knicks. They need to take that Brooklyn approach. They need to get some momentum going because, you know what? You're always going to be a destination for superstars. Just look like you aren't, ass backwards in building this team and someone will actually believe you and come and, sign.
It would have been so cool if Kyrie and Durant would have went to the Knicks rather than the Nets.
You know what? The only thing is they had Kenny Atkinson, a couple of young players, and they had a good culture going. The Knicks had James Dolan and the embarrassment that surrounds that. That's the only difference. They were both laughingstock, bottom of the barrel teams. One is still pretty much there. The other one has 3 superstars and they're contending in the East. I want to, since we mentioned the Nets, smooth as butter on these transitions, legit or full of shit, because this, I think, is a 2-team race we'll take the Sixers right now. Legit or full of shit on the Sixers being the favorite to win the East right now for you.
All right, Dakota, you're the Sixers fan.
Knowing my Sixers, I think they will finish top 3. I don't think they'll finish number 1 in the East. I think the Nets or maybe the Bucks. Maybe the Bucks catch fire, even though they've been kind of middle of the pack so far.
The Bucks are the team that's burned me so many times on saying that they'll win, and until they actually do it, I'm not going to believe they can make a run in the playoffs.
I wouldn't be shocked to see the Nets because the Nets are 18-12 and the Sixers are 19-10. So I wouldn't be shocked to see the Nets win that 1 seed. But Sixers definitely 1, 2, or 3, I would say at this point.
Okay. What do we think? Legit or full of it?
I think they're legit. Ben Simmons has also reawakened.
42 points the other night.
Yeah, he went from guarding LeBron to then guarding Damian Lillard to then scoring 42 on the Jazz, who is the best defense and currently the best team in the NBA.
Yeah.
I think I've always been a big fan of Simmons. I mean, I've always also said he needed to shoot more. Like, once he figures that out, even just a decent mid-range game, like, he will be near impossible to stop. And, like, I just think Ben Simmons is the key piece to the Sixers' success. Because Embiid, you're going to get the same thing from him every night as long as he's dialed in. I think true. If Simmons can run the offense and play that spectacular defense, they will go as far as he can go. So I think they're legit.
I agree with both what you're saying. I'll say legit, but on this, they're legit right now in the thought that Daryl Morey is making a move at the deadline. I do think there is moves to come because this bench is terrible. They can't score without Embiid. You know, Furkan has stepped backwards. Maxey has cooled off. And Tybalt looks like he's worse on offense than he did his rookie year. Howard's not going to score for you. These are your bench players. You know, obviously Shake's out right now, but even with Shake there, you don't have enough to score with these other teams. And Embiid isn't going to play, 40 minutes for you. So you need to get some power off the bench. So I'm going to say legit off them making a move. But if not, it's going to be tough to keep up with the big three in the Nets. But point on Simmons, I actually agree with you. I'm a little bit high on Simmons. He defensively was incredible. The series, the couple stops against Damian Lillard. Now that's a 6'10" dude guarding one of the quickest point guards in the league with one of the best dribbles, and he locked him down. If it wasn't for Carmelo traveling back in time a decade and made like huge shot after huge shot,
that was incredible.
Fine. Like if you told me, you know what, the last 3 possessions, Carmelo's just going to drain 2 threes and drill another mid range. But, Damian Lillard has to give the ball up because Ben Simmons was just suffocating. I'm like, yeah, risk it. Carmelo goes back in time, he goes back in time. I can't help that. But give me that every time. If you can put Ben Simmons on the best player on any team and just take him away, because if you can take away Damian Lillard, the list is short on anyone else I think is going to be able to beat you.
Yeah.
He is impressing me, but, with the scoring, I think they need more because I can't think they really can rely on Simmons to make up for the scoring without a beat. Against the Jazz, he obviously put up the 42. But it really wasn't close. We were trading 2s for 3s, and that's too much of his game. If you really are just relying on that, I don't think he's efficient enough to be going 2 for 3s. It's going to be tough. Where the NBA is right now, it's tough to rely on Simmons to give you that offensive punch without a beat out there.
Yep. Ben Simmons, though, real quick, just to gas him up a little more. Like, I don't think there's another player in the NBA. I really like – he's the only Sixer I like. He is the best defender where you can put him on a 5-man all the way down to a point guard. Like, he's the most versatile defender in the NBA. And I don't think he's very close. Bam's up there, but not on the level of Ben Simmons. Yeah,
the Damian Lillard possession was just really, I was looking like that's just incredible defense.
He was almost backcourt.
Oh, yeah. He picked him up at half court, and this guy, I just couldn't get around him. He's too big. And it was amazing. You know what? Ben Simmons, he doesn't need to shoot 3s. He doesn't need to shoot the ball that much. If he plays that super Draymond Green role, covers the entire team, and can distribute, because he's still a hell of a guy in setting up the offense, and he rebounds. You can win a championship with Embiid being your MVP candidate, getting 20, 25 from Tobias, and Ben Simmons playing the best player on defense and setting up the offense through passing and rebounding. That's definitely a championship team right there if they get some more bench help to bring it all together. Going off that, flashing over to the West, and I'll let you start this. Legit or full of it on the Lakers being the favorite? We'll go with the 1-1 seeds. Or I'm sorry, not the Lakers, the Jazz.
Oh, the Jazz. Because I was going to say, I mean, you forget Lakers still have LeBron, so.
Yeah, my bad. I meant, well, because Utah and the Sixers are in first place right now. So.
Thanks.
I think, did we even have the Jazz making the playoffs in our preseason?
I mean, I'm sure I did. You probably didn't because you don't know much about basketball. And 10 o'clock's way past your bedtime when they normally play.
No, I think they're playing. I mean, Donovan Mitchell is playing great, and the whole they're playing as a whole. I think that's the key. Is they only have 5 losses for a reason. It's because they're playing complete basketball, in my opinion. Like James said, arguably the best defense in the league right now. I don't know if they'll finish one, kind of like the Sixers scenario, but I would say they are locked, unless, God forbid, a injury to maybe Mitchell or another big player. But I think they're locked in top 4 seed right now. So
yeah,
I was asking if they were going to win the West, not be a top 4 seed. That guy.
Are they going to
top 4 seed isn't really that bold?
I don't think they're going to finish number 1. No.
Fair enough.
I think the Jazz are a very smart and well-run organization. And I was listening to the one podcast, and they brought up a good point. If they can secure the 1 seed, that means the Lakers and Clippers will probably be 2 and 3, which means they won't have to see them, or they won't have to run into both of them. They'll only have to run into one of them.
Damn.
And it would be in the Western Conference Finals. So I think they're going to be dialed in all season to get that 1 seed. And then who knows once they get to the assumingly Western Conference Finals. Donovan Mitchell has shown he can take over games. And I've seen a lot of comparisons to that Hawks team a few years ago. Remember when they went like 62-20?
Yep.
And they lost. They got annihilated by the Cavs. The difference between the Jazz team this year and that Hawks team is they have more offensive firepower, this team. Donovan Mitchell is a stud. And if he's not doing well, they have Mike Conley who can run the show. They're surrounded by shooters with Ingles and Bogdanovich. Their bench is good. Jordan Clarkson is playing out of his mind.
Jordan Clarkson's, he's
averaging like 20 a game.
That's who I want the Sixers to get. Just clone him, get him. Just that's who they need. They need a microwave scorer like him off the bench.
He's playing tremendous. I think the Jazz are legit. I really do. And they've got that anchor down low in Rudy Gobert. He's offensively challenged, but they don't need him on offense.
Yeah.
They just need him on the defensive end and to catch alley-oops.
He's honestly up
pretty darn well.
Yeah, Gobert's honestly up for Defensive Player of the Year, too.
Yep.
So.
Well, he always is.
He's a lock.
He's, like I said, he's terrible. If you ever watch him, he can't catch a ball. And he has no post moves. They never give him the ball in the post.
It's his physique.
He catches alley-oops and he plays good defense.
That's all you got to do. I'm a little bullish on them. I think their biggest problem, I do think the Jazz can score with anyone, and I do like the Gobert matchup against Anthony Davis. I think the Jazz probably have the best chance of, anyone in the West to slow him down. AD last year, you saw how much of a mismatch disadvantage he is, especially when he played against the Nuggets, because like you were talking with Jokic. Jokic is not a good defender, and there's not many players in the league that can even slow down Anthony Davis. I think Gobert could actually make an impact on him. But the problem with them, and I think they're going to have an issue with either LA team, is they don't have a wing defense. They don't. Ingles, Bogdanovich, Mitchell, none of them are going to be able to guard Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, LeBron. Their best defender is their rim protector, but they've got no one out in the wing, and I think that's going to hurt them. They're a great 3-point shooting team. They are. They can play good team defense. So maybe they get lucky and they can just outscore teams. But I think if you're one of those strong LA teams with a dominant wing player, they just won't have the answer for them. And you see that in the playoffs. The wing players that can just take the ball and do what they want with it. That's what wins. And the Nuggets ran into that problem too. Their defense stunk. Michael Porter didn't deserve to be out there defensively. Jokic stunk, and they had no one even answer for any of these LeBron when they played on him.
Yeah.
I see the same issues with the Jazz. They can get a wing defender, a Crowder or a DeMar Carroll, just those typical, veteran, I'm on a contender every single year. Wing defenders, Andre Iguodala. Maybe you can make some noise. Maybe I think that's what they need to look into on the trade deadline. I think that would be the big answer. They could score with anyone, but it's slowing down the wing players. And considering you have 3 of the best players in the planet in your Western Conference that play wing, that's gonna be a tough ask.
Yeah, and that's the thing, too, about the NBA on a side note is you don't know who's going to get traded. There's so much movement in the NBA, especially around the trade deadline. And then the buyout market, there's so many, the Celtics could become a front runner out of nowhere, especially if they get Drummond.
Yeah, they just need some size. They're right there. They have the defense and the scoring. They just need someone down low.
Yeah, there's so many potential moves that could make one team so much better or so much worse. And so who knows? I agree with you, though, Tim, that the Jazz do need that LeBron, not stopper because you can't stop him, but the LeBron slower downer.
Yeah. That's what they're missing. Yeah. That's what they have. They have the wing offense. They just don't have it on defense.
I agree.
If the season ended today, since we keep talking about winning the East and the West, the season ended today. Sixers would win the East. They'd be number 1 seed. Then it would be the Nets, the Bucks, Pacers, Celtics, Knicks, Raptors, and the Hornets. But like we said, the Heat are still in that mix. And then in the West, the Jazz would win. Then it would be the Lakers at 2, Clippers, Blazers, the Suns, the Spurs, who have gotten kind of high lately, the Warriors, and then the Nuggets, who are they'll keep climbing. I don't think they'll finish at the 8. Of those teams, who do we think? I mean, obviously we talked about Knicks and Hornets not really being in that, but are we surprised that like the Mavs aren't better and the Heat aren't better? Like, is this just a factor of they were so deep, they were in the bubble? There is maybe still some fatigue from that, and do we see them climbing back into the middle of this pack?
I think the Mavs are a move away.
Yeah.
They've been depleted by COVID, just like the Heat, but the Heat have no excuse. They have everyone back now except Dragic. They just think the Mavs are one move away. I think Kristaps is always in and out of games, which doesn't help because he's your second option. Like Luka's having a great season again. It's just they don't have anyone. They're playing Jalen Brunson, who's not very talented. He's just a decent average point guard. I think they'll make a trade and they'll move up in the rankings. I can't see the Spurs. The Spurs are a good story. They don't have much offensive firepower, and that's what you need. I don't see them staying up there long. So that would be the one switch I would see in the West. And in the East, we already talked about the Knicks and the Hornets. They're gonna
the Mavericks are a weird team. I honestly think, I mean, when they made the trade for Porzingis, I think everyone saw that as a good move, get another superstar there with Luka. But you know what? You know what it left you is when he doesn't play, there's not much left to his team because you traded away most of it to go get Porzingis. And you know the Mavericks are kind of like the Warriors, where you know Steph Curry's awesome and he covers up for a lot of it, but the team's really not good. It's you know, you're seeing the effects of being a dynasty and signing huge free agents and all that. You don't have much depth or young guys. The Mavericks are kind of the same idea. They went all in for Porzingis and he doesn't play, and you're missing such a big part of what you were hoping for. You built your team around 2 stars and one of them misses games regularly. Asking too much on Luka. So I'm not buying in on the Mavericks. I think you're right. They need to make another move. They need depth because they can't rely on Porzingis to play, you know, nearly enough games where it'll make them a contender. I think the Nuggets will rise. They're the only risers I can really see from the West. I still think they're a good team. You know, similar with the Heat, they had a long battle in the bubble. I think they went back-to-back 7-game series. You know, you got to expect some kind of fatigue, even though Jokic is playing amazing. But I think there is a little bit of fatigue with playing so long in the bubble and being a short off season. But I think they put it back together. You know, again, most of the team's still there. They lost Grant, which was tough because that was your, you know, wing defender, and he kind of made those big shots. But other than that, your stars are still there. I think they'll be okay. I think that's the team that'll rise with the Mavericks falling.
Yeah, I think the Nuggets. And the Nuggets, I've heard a lot of rumors with them and Bradley Beal. If they get Bradley Beal.
If there's any player I'm rooting for that's not, you know, a team that I, you know, follow closely, it would be Bradley Beal. Like, he's such a phenomenal player, and I would just love for him to have a genuine opportunity to play for a good team. So
if they bring him to Denver, man, the rain clouds will never leave Denver. They're just going to stay right over those mountains and just be raining in between him and Murray.
And Jokic. I in the beginning of the year, going back to the Heat, I was like, no, don't trade Hero for Beal. I'm really past that. Like, get Beal, man. He's a stud. Trade Hero, trade all of them.
Yeah.
Keep Duncan, Jimmy, and Bam. Those are the only 3 you need, and then trade anyone else for Beal.
I like Hero, I do, and I think he's.
Oh, so do I.
I think he's gonna be a pretty good player, but you gotta think, is he ever gonna have the value he just did coming off that season? You know, you could have literally put his name up there with, you know, he was probably just as big of a trade asset as other young established players like Tatum or, you know, even Brandon Ingram. Like, he was that young guy that already showed that he's ready to be a star. You just wonder if he keeps it up. So I'm still high on him, but I think it'll come back. He's a good person for the culture too. I think it'll help him, you know, in the long run. He'll develop and everything. It's just, you know, natural. Defenses catch on after they see you after a while.
Yep. But just Bradley Beal's a stud.
Bradley Beal, yeah, he's lethal. I do want to see him get out of Washington. That franchise is going nowhere. They haven't gone anywhere since he's been there. He is a legit scorer. He's my favorite to win the scoring title right now.
Yeah. Him, and then I'm probably 50-50 on whether he actually gets moved, because he seems like he really, even though they're not, like you said, super successful, he likes it there. But I mean, Zach LaVine, I feel like is going to get traded at some point, probably to a contender, and that'll help, whoever that goes to. But yeah, I think this could be a pretty exciting, trade deadline coming up. So.
Yeah, we'll see. I don't think the deal's an age, because I think it's going to take a James Harden, Paul George package to go get Bradley Beal. And I said it with the Rockets. I didn't see any. It wasn't like when Anthony Davis and Paul George got traded, and you knew you had two teams that were ready to pay the price and were going to get those players. Even with James Harden, you didn't know who was going to go get them. The Nets and the Sixers seemed to be the only two options that were listening. So now that the Nets are out, I can't imagine the Sixers would dump everyone. Ben Simmons, some picks. It's going to be a huge haul, and I just don't see which team is going to go out and do that. Everyone wants Beal, but I don't see the Wizards moving them without getting a James Harden, Paul George type return.
Yeah, I mean, I was all for shipping away Ben Simmons for Beal, like Ben and whoever for Beal when Ben was going through his slump. But
yeah,
I still wouldn't be super opposed to that. But
I mean, listen, they're playing well. They're leading the East. Yeah, there's no need to blow anything up. Ben stays. They're winning games. I never got really in the hard talk, because they're playing well. Why do we blow it up to bring in a guy that hasn't proven he can win with other guys? I've seen him play with multiple superstar teammates, and there's not much to show for it. I don't need to blow up a good thing to bring in an unknown. Well, if they traded Simmons for Harden, yeah, I mean. It's just, if you're struggling, I get it. But they were first in the East. They're playing well. There was no need to blow up the team to bring in Simmons. And that's kind of look at what the Sixers at the deadline. Just get me some bench help. That's what you need. You need someone to score when Embiid's not out there. Maybe 2 or 3 guys who could score without Embiid out there.
Yeah, Seth's been great, but Danny Green's not been very good.
He'll figure it out. He's a veteran. He's been there.
Yeah.
I think, you can't trade anyone on the Sixers right now unless you're getting something small for a bench piece, like you said, because new coach, new surrounding pieces in the starting lineup, you've got to let it run. And they're first in the East, so why would you?
Yeah. I got no issue. There's no reason to blow this up. I said I was a big hater of Brett Brown, thought he was an imbecile coaching this team for a while. I think it's just covered up by the fact that he was expected to lose for 4 straight years, so no one realized that, no, this guy actually sucks. That's why they're losing. So I was like, I didn't want to trade either of your young stars until I actually saw an NBA legit head coach try his hand at it and see what happens. And it's looking pretty good right now. Not going to lie. If it doesn't work out at the end of the season, then we can revisit this. But I was going to give someone that knew how to coach a team to success a chance with those two before I shipped off either of them.
Yeah. That wraps up most of what I wanted to talk about. I don't know if you guys have any final thoughts or anything we didn't discuss, but it seems I'm glad to hear that James is all aboard the Embiid MVP train.
It's hard to say. It's hard for me to say it, but it is. I do have a question. How do you guys feel about Mr. Zion Williamson down in New Orleans?
I'll say, man, that the hype off him cooled off immediately. I was like, what happened to Zion? You couldn't get anything without Zion being on it. And it definitely is cooled off. I think LaMelo Ball's kind of taken away some of that really shine. Well. He has played really well. I mean, Zion will be okay. I still think he needed a couple of years to develop a game. He reminds me of Embiid. He's a physical freak who just needs to develop that game. Because you imagine if Zion got a consistent mid-range game with the footwork and the body he has, like Embiid's got right now, he'd be a unit. You just give it to them post. He takes out. He'll be okay. I think I am surprised how quickly the hype wore off going into his second year, though.
I mean, he's averaging 25 points a game. It's not like he's not playing super well, but he's definitely not this face of the NBA guy that everyone was really the next LeBron type player. And the Pelicans as a team are not. They're I think 12-16 and really at the bottom of the West. So
yeah, they've kind of disappointed. Ingram and everything. I think they wanted a little bit more.
I've never been a big fan of Zion. I don't think he's skilled enough. Like in the regular season when games aren't as serious and he's having put back dunks, alley-oops and all that. But when playoffs come, if they make the playoffs and teams start focusing in and scheming around Zion or how do we stop him, it'll be very similar to how Giannis gets stopped in the playoffs.
Yeah,
I think Giannis is a lot better than Zion. So
that's what he's got to do. That's why it kind of reminds me of Embiid. They're just freaks that, you know, their body and their athleticism alone will make them good at basketball. But like you said, you got to learn some skills, and Embiid made the jump this year. His footwork's impressed me. His mid-range game is very. I think I saw something. He's got like the most efficient percentage-wise from his mid-range since like Steph Curry. I don't remember it off the top of my head, but it's something ridiculous. So he just needs to get that down, and we'll see. He's young. He needs time to develop.
And that's it too. He's young.
Yeah. I think that team's a little bit of like a puzzle piece right now without all the pieces too. I think Drew Holiday helped them a lot last year, and now that he's gone, I think it's like Zion's team. So they'll come around. That if they waste his talent, his potential by not building around him, then that's on them. But they did that with AD, so
yeah, they've got Zion and Ingram. That's too solid to build around.
Signing Ingram to the max was a big win for them. So you have someone that can grow with Zion. But you know, he got probably his entire life being bigger and stronger than everyone, and then he got in the league where the biggest and the stronger play, and you know he's still having success. 25 games, pretty impressive, but the wins aren't there yet, and I think they'll come. You know, once he gets his skill down. But
yeah, for sure.
Good episode. I think it was a good way to start our NBA season. I like getting the NBA right when the NFL ends. So it's like kind of, you know, my full attention. You know, I watch the NBA all day on Christmas Day, but once the NFL ends, that's when I lock in. And look at this. The first day we do our podcast and the NFL steals it again with the Eagles just fully putting the cherry on top. They finished their last chapter of How to Ruin a Franchise Quarterback in 2 Simple Years, co-authored by Jeffrey Lurie and Howie Roseman, contributing factor by Doug Peterson and the Philadelphia media. So we'll see. A big game tonight. I think this is LeBron's, and this is the game. If he wins the MVP, this is where we look at where he took a lead in the race. I expect him to go out, and I think he's gonna have a big game. I'm think he circles this one. I think he likes the games against Kyrie. Something tells me when he mentioned those shots about how I finally have a teammate I can pass to make a big shot. I don't think there's anyone more petty than LeBron in the league, and I guarantee he saw it, and I guarantee he didn't forget about it. So I'm expecting a big game from him tonight.
I threw a pretty penny down on them winning.
I haven't done it yet, but I'm thinking the same thing. I have that feeling. Something tells me that LeBron circles this game, knows that Anthony Davis is out. He rocks 40 minutes, 30-point triple-double, and probably stares down Kyrie a couple times.
The Super Bowl did me dirty with bets, so maybe I'll start getting back in it.
I know I did terrible in the Super Bowl, but I've been doing okay on basketball up until I stupidly took the Heat against the backups of the Golden State Warriors.
I've been bad, thanks to the Heat.
Thanks to the Heat.
I'm gonna die on the Heat Island, so.
Yeah, you should never bet against the team you root for. It's always bad luck.
I believe that. Bad juju. Yeah.
But we got March Madness coming up though. That'll be
Gonzaga. Gonzaga.
Yeah, Gonzaga and Baylor are gonna.
We'll save that for another episode.
It's the best college basketball team I've seen in years.
Really?
Yeah. No, I agree with you. The quick primer on college basketball is Gonzaga and Baylor are better than everyone else, and it's not even close. And every Blue Blood team sucks. That's basically the recap of the college basketball team.
It is, yeah. I can't see anyone beating Gonzaga, even Baylor. Gonzaga is just too good. They're big.
I agree. I like Stubbs is awesome.
He's did anyone see that full court bounce pass he threw? It was like a month ago, but
I did not.
He threw a full court one-handed bounce pass. Look it up. It was one of the best passes I've ever seen.
He's in the perfect situation. He's a superstar freshman on a veteran team, and I think Baylor's really good too. I do like Gonzaga as the best team, but it's just this isn't noticeably like it's those two teams and then everyone else. Like it's not even close. So give me those two matched up somewhere in that bracket. And I'll be popcorn ready watching that one.
Sounds good.
All right, boys.
It's
been good.
Fun. James, thanks for joining us.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I could finally make one.
Yeah, and everyone listening, be safe in the snow, especially if you're in Texas and your pipes are freezing from ice. But
wow, look at you caring about the Texas people. Really going international or national.
I respect the Kutztown sweatshirt, by the way. I didn't get to say that.
Oh yeah, you gotta represent a little bit here. I do like the Miami Vice vibes going on with the Heat.
Thank you. I didn't know which one to wear. I was debating wearing one or not because they've been terrible, but I was like, I gotta rep them.
Yeah,
gotta rep.
Sure.
All right, boys.
All right, I'll talk to you. Stay safe.
Peace out.
All right.
Guys.
Adios.
Happy to have you.
Yep.